right, well, hello and welcome to EllieMD's live educational series. We're glad you're joining us tonight. At EllieMD, we're redefining telehealth by creating a space for meaningful conversations, science-driven insights, and guided support that empower you to take charge of your health and longevity. If you haven't heard the big news, EllieMD just launched MOTS-c, and tonight's conversation will focus on MOTS-c and the mitochondrial-derived peptide. To help us to educate all of you, we're excited to welcome Rachel Harshfield, a dietitian, nutritionist with over 20 years of experience in the wellness industry. Known for her direct, science-forward approach to nutrition, peptides, metabolic health, and longevity, Rachel is passionate about helping people cut through trends and focus on the foundational habits that support sustainable health. Rachel, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad. Maybe we provide a little background on how we connected. I met Rachel a couple weeks ago in Cancun. It was a Team Joy event, and I met her, and she was like, "When are we coming out with MOTS-c?" And I was like, stay tuned. And she goes, "Oh my God, when we come out with it, can I come out and talk about it? Because I've been using it for myself. I've been putting my clients on this peptide." So I'm glad you're here to educate all of
Oh,
us and maybe
thank you.
share a little about your background yourself and why you're so passionate about MOTS-c in particular.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so humbled to be here with all of you guys tonight. And I know that you guys are taking time out of your schedule. So first and foremost, I want to thank you guys all for joining. This is awesome. And I love seeing your guys' faces. Before I get started, I want to just kind of take the temperature down because I think a lot of times we get these really awesome peptides and we're so afraid to talk about them because we could talk about the GLP because everyone knows what the GLP does, right? But then we get something really cool like methane blue and MOTS-c and tesamorelin and ipamorelin, and we're like, I don't know if I should talk about it. Am I educated? Am I qualified? Should I talk about it? I'm not a doctor, but there's so much science and so much research that is out there. And tonight, my hope is just to give you guys a little bit more confidence, a little bit more education, a little bit more talking points you guys can walk away with tonight so that when you are talking to someone about MOTS-c, you feel like, okay, I know enough now that I can talk about it. And of course, once you try it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like this is out of this world. So I'm not new. My name, as she said, my name is Rachel Harshfield. I'm not new to network marketing. I'm not new to the health and the fitness and the wellness space. I've been doing this for quite some time. I started more in the fitness space and then went into the nutrition space. And then I just really solely focus now on nutrition and helping mainly women in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, because there has been this, big, uproar and metabolic need for help and support. And there's so much misguided information out there on Instagram, on Facebook. And it seems like every single thing that you click, some, bro science person is trying to tell you to get something on TikTok Shop. And you're like, how do you know what is right and what is not? So I'm trying to cut through some of that noise tonight. We're going to try to get into what really is a peptide for you and what specifically is MOTS-c. So I don't know if Brenda can turn on what I did with you guys tonight because I want to stay on task. I want to stay on target. I don't want to, I can be like squirrel and go off on a whole different subject. I want to keep it pretty simple, keep it very simple for you guys tonight. I want to offer a slide and I'm going to talk through the slide. And we're going to go through the talking points of the slide. And at the end, if you guys would like these slides, I'm happy to share them with all of you. I just feel like some people learn better by visually and some people are not, they're listening and their mind might be going here and having something that's kind of attainable that you can go back to and look over. So I went ahead and I made slides for you guys tonight. So let's see if I can screen record or screen share. And I don't know, is it share here? I think this is share my screen, right? Yep, here we go. Okay, can you guys see that? Hanieh, can you see that?
Yes, now we
Okay.
can. Can
Okay.
everyone see it? Yes, thumbs up.
Okay. All right. So what is MOTS-c? And there is one typo on this one. I was like, should I go back and fix it? And I'm like, no, you know what? It's me. And sometimes I make typos. So, but what is MOTS-c? So this is MOTS-c is a tiny peptide that is encoded. It's encoded in a small cell inside of your mitochondria. Your mitochondria is the energy of all of your cell walls. It is what makes us have this energy to get up and move, our energy to work out, our brain functions on this mitochondria. And it's something that our body makes on its own. So it's not a foreign substance. It is not a foreign compound. It's something that your body already knows what to do. And that really makes MOTS-c so different, so unique in that we do produce it, and we produce it by adding a small signal, which is what MOTS-c is. It's only 16 amino acids. And in terms of like how many amino acids some of our other peptides have, which are a lot larger, 16 is a very small short chain of amino acids. So it's a short chain amino acid, and it goes in and it signals to your mitochondria, what gives it that energy, it gives it that push. It is not a hormone. So people were asking, like, does it help with your hormones? No, it's metabolic. It's really focusing on your metabolic part of your body's natural communication between, your nucleus, which is inside of your cell of your mitochondria. It helps your body fuel more efficiently. It helps with your body's ability to adapt to exercise, adapt to inflammatory response that can happen from exercise, and even helps with your stress levels because you're increasing that energy, that AMPK energy and our ATP, which is our body's energy source. So when you're increasing that, it really helps your body to have just an overall synthesis, like what Hanieh was saying, like if you don't take it, you feel it because your body is just getting empowered by that small little injection of your amino acids, and it's really helping your body to move forward. Now I need to go the other way. That was from one of my other calls. So metabolic function and signaling and how it helps with your insulin. So it does derive off of your insulin, helping to oxidate your fat cells. And that helps with your glucose uptake. So we talk about how it's going to help with even those who have, who are now being a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more resistant when it comes to taking your GLPs, because maybe you've been on it for a while and you're just not feeling like maybe your body's holding on a little bit longer, or you're not getting that result. Something like MOTS-c would really be able to come in and help boost that energy level with your AMPK, it's your master metabolic switch, you guys. And it really does help with that fat oxidation, pulling that fat from the cell, pulling the fat from the tissue, and allowing it to be converted into energy. Helps to improve your glucose. Again, that's why with insulin resistance, and taking the GLP, and that's where we're getting that, that weight loss. So it will help to increase that by pulling your metabolic system up. And it helps with the efficiency and how well our body is receiving and responding to fueling. So you want that energy level. You want to feel that burst of energy, but it's also working with your metabolic system. So if you have a sluggish metabolic system, maybe some of your clients, maybe yourself, maybe you're dealing with hypothyroid. I know for me, that was one of my issues. I had hypothyroid, and I would feel myself kind of go through the 3 or 4 o'clock lull in the day. And by taking MOTS-c, and I've been taking it for about 5 or 6 months, you guys, and it's really helped me. And like I said, I'm not here to diagnose anyone, but I can share my story, and I'll share a little bit more of it later, on how it really has helped me to really balance out any kind of metabolic issues that I might be feeling or might be experiencing. Metabolic flexibility means your cells can switch between fuel sources. So when your glucose is available, it will use that. And when your fat is needed, it can use that. And that's really awesome. It's something that is unique about MOTS-c, to be able to have that energy uptick all from the mitochondria, from the cell, from the nucleus, from the AMPK and the ATP, which is, like I said, our body's energy source. So when you're feeling a little bit of metabolic resistance, when it drops, you will see a little bit more of an inflammatory response, right? Like how many people have, you could notice when you start to have that inflammation in your body and your energy gets low. So by using MOTS-c, that can help stabilize that. That can help even that out so you're not feeling that resistance, you're not getting that inflammatory response, and helps with your, to keep your metabolic system more rigid, and you're going to have a little slower recovery. So it helps you to regulate. And I think that's really important too when we're looking at something that we want to have regulation. We want to have something that's going to help us, that's going to give us energy, that's going to help reduce and decrease inflammation, inflammatory markers in our system. It's going to help give us more clarity, have better brain function, less brain fog. I mean, these are all important. And this really is what gives us so much energy. And it's been so wonderful that that we've been able to experience that. And now that we have MOTS-c, a lot of you will be able to experience that as well. This is something new. Science is always changing, and they're always trying to find, we learn new things. And I was doing a little reading and a little research on, the mitochondrial function of aging. And, when our cells are not communicating properly, so we're not having cellular recovery, we're not having proper cellular turnover, right? Our body can become weaker to the communication repair. So our bodies are all communicating with our organs, or our cells are communicating with our, our brain, and making sure that we're getting all that proper hydration throughout our system. So when the mitochondria is lower or weaker, it causes a breakdown. So what they're finding is by increasing your AMPK activation and your oxidation pathways, that it is helping with that signaling that's increasing longevity, which I thought was really, really cool. And that's something that MOTS-c is, they're finding through studies, is offering. So more energy production and more cellular turnover, more oxidative balance, and more metabolic signaling is also something that they found, that these studies, that what MOTS-c is offering, and they're linking that to longevity. They're linking that to healthy aging. They're linking that to healthy skin cells. They're linking that to a healthy, happy brain that is functioning. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that with this peptide. I think that the more that they continue to study how the oxidation is actually helping our body to have that turnover, we're going to see more and more studies coming out about longevity and longevity repair and cellular recovery and cellular repair and ATP energy, and how that is really just creating such a beautiful synthesis inside of our bodies that we're going to be able to utilize. And the value is really great. I don't know if you guys have heard the term. I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot on Instagram, the bro science, like, oh, MOTS-c, it's exercise in a bottle. And I laugh because I'm like, okay. I mean, some people might think I'll just take my shot of, MOTS-c. I don't have to work out today. I got MOTS-c going on. But kind of, sort of. I mean, yes, but no, but yes. Because it does suggest, research has suggested that it does help with inducing the adaptations inside of the muscle. So when you're breaking down the muscle, helps to influence that mitochondrial signaling. Again, going back to that cellular recovery, cellular repair, hydration to the muscle, more blood flow in and around the muscle, that uptick of energy. It's just a beautiful, to me, it's like a symphony. Improving that energy pathway and supporting recovery. That's really what we do when we exercise, ready? So when we have that mitochondria signaling, you have just better output of more units of fuel per cell. So that's why they say, well, it's kind of like exercising, just taking your shot, you're exercising a bottle. But the ATP also gives stable energy, better recovery post-workouts, better sleep, and improving metabolic flexibility. And again, going back to the metabolic system, going back into metabolic fatigue, metabolic repair, having that flexibility so that it can kind of move with you. Kind of think of it like a rubber band, that flexibility, that bend of what you want your metabolism to be able to do, to give you what you need at the time that you need it. Athletes sometimes will talk about performance, but if you're not an athlete, adults just need resilience. They need something that they know that is going to move with them throughout the day and not cause that crash. And, That's where a lot of people, I think, get tripped up when it comes to how do I know if my metabolic system is working right? How do I know that my energy source is going to carry me throughout the day? So with MOTS-c, we have some really great options here to work in our mitochondria, to work with our energy, to work with our AMPK pathways, to work with our body and give us that really wonderful balance. So that is, let me see if I don't mess it up because I don't want to mess up let me stop share. So that is kind of where we're at with MOTS-c. And I can tell you guys for myself, like I always worry about saying too much and not diagnosing. I don't want to diagnose anyone. And you guys don't need to diagnose, and you shouldn't be diagnosing anyone. You shouldn't be saying anything that is going to allow a person to think, well, Sandy said that if I take this, that I'm going to be feeling like this. But what you can share is here, and this is how I always like to do it, is feel, felt, found. This is how I felt, or when someone's talking to you, you'd be like, I felt that way. This is how I felt. This is what I feel now. And this is what I found. Because it's really important to share with them, and you can share with them your own experience. We talk about being a product of the product. And how important that is, that you can share your own experiences. It's like the GLP, right? You start your GLP and you start to have these amazing results. You start to feel differently. And it's when you start to feel different and you start to feel really good that you want to share that. And that's how it's going to be for you when you start your MOTS-c. You're going to start to feel different. And acknowledge those feelings and write them down. You're going to start to have more energy. You're going to start to have more clarity. I have always, when I started MOTS-c, I was already doing Tessa and Empamorelin, and I was having such great results with Tessa and Empamorelin. I was starting to get leaner. I started to lose some of that visceral fat that was like in and around my bra strap and around the back of my, like right where your jeans are and you're buckling your jeans, started to decrease. But when I started MOTS-c with my Tessa and my IPA, it was my brain function. I was like, oh my gosh, I literally felt like the lights just turned on. And I had such great energy. I got through my workouts, no problem. Exercise in the bottle. I felt like I had such better clarity. I felt like I was sleeping better. I didn't feel that inflammation at the end of the day that is caused sometimes from, just stress and oxidative stress and cortisol stress. I did feel that I didn't have that crash, that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock burnout. I was no longer experiencing that. So while I was getting such great results with the Tessa and the IPA and really having the muscles and and seeing the improvement in my visceral fat and really starting to see my muscles starting to form, when I put MOTS-c on board, oh my goodness gracious. It was like the Energizer Bunny who could. And when Hanieh told me we were bringing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, because I knew what it was going to be like for you guys too. And I knew it was probably something that, we were going to start hearing about it's one of those things when something really cool comes out, everyone starts to talk about it, right? And you're probably going to go to your Instagram, to your Facebook, and you'll see all this stuff for MOTS-c because our cameras and our speakers are all on. So now Big Brother knows that we were talking about MOTS-c. So be prepared. You're going to see all the things on MOTS-c. But we have it and it's exciting. So we're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Rachel, everything that you just mentioned is exactly how I felt when I started MOTS-c.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, is it my hormones? What's different? Like this feels different. A lot of times you take these peptides, you don't know if it's working or not, right? Because it takes time and it's systemic and so forth. But this one was one of those that I felt immediately. And today, the day that I didn't take it, I feel the difference. Like just like you said, that insulin crash, that my energy is stable throughout the day. I feel like I'm on fire with my energy, with my creativity. It's been a game changer. This one's one of those like I will vouch for. So Tessa IPA is one big one that I absolutely love. Like you see the gains. Um, and this is the
I know.
second one. And I combine this with methylene blue. And on that note, I actually want to talk about that because a lot of these peptides are mitochondrial peptides, NAD. They work in similar pathways. And I've seen a couple questions come in. Well, what's the difference between NAD, methylene blue, this one? Like, which one should I take? They all work differently, but they also have very similar functions. Maybe you could touch on that a little bit of how they
Yeah.
work the same and different.
Yeah, so NAD is actually a coenzyme. It's not necessarily a peptide. It's not a peptide at all. NAD works on cellular recovery, tissue repair, tissue recovery, and yes, it does work on your ATP, your body's energy, natural energy source. But what's really different about NAD is that if you don't have, like some people have a complete opposite effect with NAD, where you're not getting an energy, you're actually getting a crash at the end of the day. You're feeling tired on NAD. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I don't want people like, oh, well, that's bad. No, it goes after where your body is needing the most. And a lot of, because it was happened to me. I took NAD and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then for like a week or two, I would take it and I was like, why am I feeling so tired? What I didn't realize is that my body was fighting the flu. And so rather than giving me this uptick of energy, my body, and I was taking my NAD, was slowing me down a little bit because my body was going through a recovery and a repair. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that that was a bad thing if you feel that the opposite effect of NAD. But NAD, like I said, it works different. It's a coenzyme. So a coenzyme works differently and metabolizes differently in the body, and it works differently because it has a different pathway. Whereas something like MOTS-c is strictly mitochondrial, works with the cellular, works with energy, works with your metabolic system specifically, whereas NAD is a coenzyme and it works kind of with more of your ATP and overall cellular tissue repair and recovery.
I love that answer. Now, talk to us, because there's a lot of hype on social media right now, and there's a lot of people, and I've heard this many, many times, that combining MOTS-c with a GLP-1 GIP gives you the same effects as a
Is red, red,
peptide.
red,
Yeah,
rah, rah,
I
rah,
was trying
rah.
not to mention it, but
Yeah.
how true is that? Is that a myth or is that?
No, it's true. So the unmentionable, um, that third component, it really is it's a metabolic component. So this is kind of the counterpart to that metabolic component that it offers, but in a different way, in a different pathway, a little more natural pathway, that you can still get that same, it's the same but different. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the exact same, but it's the same, but it's going to give you that metabolic boost to your trizepatide, to your semaglutide. It's going to give that metabolic boost to your cells through your mitochondria, through something that you already have within your system. You're just giving it a little boost, and so that's where we're hearing, well, it's the same thing if you do it, if you take them together. I have found that with a few of my clients who have had a little bit of burnout, they've plateaued on the GLP. I can use my brother as an example. I told him today I was going to use him as an example. He was taking trizepatide for so long and he had lost a really good amount of weight on trizepatide. And he called me last night at 11:58. So technically he called me this morning. He's like, hey, I just got an email from EllieMD, something about MOTS-c. Can you get it for me? Is it going to work for me? Is that the stuff that you gave me? So I was like, yes. He is a perfect prime example of someone who kind of stalled out at a like 65, 70-pound weight loss, and that was slowing down with his trizepatide. Rather than increasing your trizepatide and increasing that dosage, let's give you 60 units of MOTS-c 3 times a week, and you're going to see a massive shift in your metabolic system. So yes, that is where if you have clients or yourself, you're starting to kind of at that rate of like, this is my base now. I've been on trizepatide for a while. This is my base now, and you want to take it up a notch. MOTS-c is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, you went over this, but who is this best for? And maybe you could also let's just answer that question first.
Yeah, who's
Who
this
is this
best
best
for?
for?
I think it's great for everyone. I think it's great for those who maybe would like to exercise a little bit more, don't have the energy to exercise. Maybe you're feeling a little tired. Maybe you just don't have the time. because it is going to give you that metabolic burst, and it is going to help with weight loss. Does it help the same way as as tesamorelin would with the visceral fat? Not necessarily. No, it's not the same pathway. Is it going to be the same as a GLP or a GIP? No, not the same pathway. This is metabolic. So you're looking for something specifically to work with your metabolic system, with your cell and your mitochondria and your AMPK. This is how that works. So it would be good for anyone. It would not be good for someone if they're breastfeeding, trying to get pregnant. If you have active cancer cells, I would say maybe talk to your doctor on any time you have anything post-cancer or pre-cancer. Talk to your doctor first. But I would say anyone else or any kind of a heart condition, those are things that you'd want to go through the medical evaluation through Ellie and make sure you check those boxes and put your concerns inside there so that your doctor can have a conversation with you if they think that it might be something that you might want to hold off on, or maybe just take a different dose. You might be dosing it maybe a little bit less or a little bit more. And again, pointing to the doctor, like that's a great question for your doctor to have. But as far as metabolically, I think it's, it could be for anyone, for the bodybuilder who wants to do a cut, for the, for the average person who wants to take their GLP up a little notch and lose another 5 or 10 pounds, to someone who just wants to have a metabolic base that is increased, better energy and better cognitive function. MOTS-c is going to be able to do that for you, getting MOTS-c on board.
So, Rachel, you've been doing this now for some time, and maybe for someone who has never tried this peptide before, what is something they could expect immediately after use? A day, a week, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, long term? Maybe you could share a little bit of your experience.
Me personally, and those that I've worked with, have experienced an immediate change in their energy. And we're talking within a 40 or 24-hour period, they're noticing that boost in energy. Don't take it at night. Take it in the morning. Mid-morning, I would recommend. And like anything, any peptide, just to let you know, any peptide that is your first time you take it, I always say take it in the morning, even if it is one that you would normally take in the evening. Your first dose, I always say take it early enough so that you can see if you have any side effects. You don't want to take it at night and then be up with side effects if you have any. And most of the time you won't. But listen, our biology, we're all different. Like I can't say what works for me is going to be the exact same way that it's going to work for Hanieh. Like we're all so different. We have to respect that our biology is different. Our lifestyles are different. Everything about us is different. However, I think within the most of the time, from it's a general way to go, you're going to feel something within the first day or two. By the first week in, you're going to feel like a completely different person. I mean, I feel for myself, I have so much energy. I'm so much happier. That's what I get from my kids who are 22. They're like, Mom, you're so much happier. I'm like, I feel great. I feel so happy. And I really do. And I attest it to MOTS-c.
I love that. I love it. Now,
I
can you
saw
share?
someone say it, I'm sorry. I saw someone say that. Did she say it was good for breastfeeding? I would not recommend it if you're breastfeeding.
No, pregnant breastfeeding, no.
No,
Trying to get pregnant, this is
no.
not something that we would recommend for anyone or anyone under the age of 18, or it's primarily for adults. Now, talk to us about what you recommend typically as far as the stack goes. What would pair well with this, and how would you alternate if you are on NAD or methylene blue? How would you either pair it or alternate this therapy?
Well, I did talk about it already. The trizepatide, it's a perfect marriage if you're like looking to, up your gains and your weight loss. I loved it for myself with Tessa and ipamorelin. I think again, for someone who isn't looking to lose a lot of weight, but looking to really capitalize on muscle gains and building my little glute, like I'm trying to, not let gravity take me down. And I've been partnering Tessa IPA with MOTS-c. For you men out there, hello, Tessa IPA, MOTS-c. So good. So, so good. Also to methane blue, the two mitochondrial, they're going to be working together. Again, they are different signaling pathways and they're supporting each other. So you can take those two together as well as glutathione. You guys, glutathione is it doesn't get enough respect, I think, because glutathione helps to detoxify your liver. You're detoxifying that liver because that's where all the flush out all those toxins, helps to keep your immune system strong. I think it would be a great pairing with glutathione as well. So any one of those. My stack, oh my gosh, you guys, I love GHKCU. I can tell you, my stack: GHKCU, ipamorelin, tesamorelin, ipamorelin, GHKCU, and MOTS-c and glutathione. Like those for me are like my little happy places. Like I look forward to when I get to take my injections on those. If you guys haven't tried GHKCU, again, it's another anti-inflammatory, helps with your skin, your cellular repair, cellular recovery, helps with, any kind of small fine lines and wrinkle. I mean, it's anti-aging and it's a beautiful peptide.
Yeah, and I keep seeing a lot of messages in the chat about dosing and the protocol and how to, I guess,
How to dose. We were
yeah.
at 60 units 3 times a week, I think is what the dosing is. Um, I think that's a good dose. I think I don't know how they figure out the dosing protocols, but that's pretty much what I was doing as well before we had our MOTS-c come out. 60 units 3 times a week.
I saw someone write, do you have to be on this forever? So maybe you could talk about the cycling of this or any
Ooh.
peptide.
I think I'm in honesty, I don't know what is recommended for cycling, but I will tell you from the GHKCU, because the way that it works, I never have cycled off of it. And I know now we do 5 days a week, and I always did 5 days a week with GHKCU. And just because I felt like I was getting the best with that. I think you're going to get it and you're going to find what works best for you. Some people might be sensitive and maybe 60 units 3 times a week is too much for them. And then you might want to pull it back to maybe 60 units once a week and then 30 units 2 other times throughout the week. Maybe 60 units is a perfect sweet spot for you. And you can end up cycling it. Maybe instead of doing it 3 times a week, you can do it once a week after a 12-week period. You do it maybe just once a week instead of going 3 times a week. I think with anything that it comes with peptides, you have to kind of see how your body is adjusting to it and how you feel, because we're individual, and how we metabolize things and how our biology works is different. So, I mean, I think that's a fair way of going about it. And I mean, all of you guys, like I said, we're all different ages. We're all in different places in our life. We all have different hormones that are going through our body and some of us had surgery, some of us haven't, some of us have kids, some don't. So it really just depends. It really depends on you.
I see Barbara wrote, former figure and bikini competitor. I'm so excited to share this with my community. Stephanie wrote, I've been using MOTS-c in my practice for a while. I love it, and I'm thrilled that it's available here. I know as far as cycling goes, by the way, our recommendation or protocol is 8 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and just to give your body that rest and recovery. I mean, with
So it's 8 weeks and then 2 weeks. Is that
2 weeks.
what
Yeah,
we're,
that's a
that's not bad.
typical, yeah, protocol here. I'm going through the questions, so if you have them and I'm missing it, please just put it below. I'm trying to get through it. If you're sensitive to caffeine, would this be a good peptide? Is it similar to a reaction on your body? No, right?
No, not at all.
Very
I mean,
different.
again, it's internal, it's cell. You already have, first and foremost, you already have this in your body. You already have MOTS-c. It's mitochondrial. You're just giving a little bit of a, hey, hello.
I'm getting a lot about NAD. Like, would it be
Mm,
overloading the body to use this in conjunction with NAD? Again, totally different, but maybe just
yeah.
touch on that one more time because I think a lot of people are excited about this, but they're already using NAD and maybe you
Yeah,
could,
NAD is, like I said, it's a coenzyme, so it works differently in your body. It's working strategically with your ATP, with your body's energy, your cellular recovery, cellular repair. So it works differently than something where you're looking at your mitochondria and you're focusing on the nucleus. If I can even remember, it's like it's part of the DNA working directly with the AMPK pathway, but they do work different. And if you are wanting to try to cycle in and see how it works with your NAD and your NAD, you want to see, well, maybe don't do 3 times a week. Maybe try just bringing MOTS-c on once a week and seeing how that goes. And do it on different days that you cycle your NAD. So if your NAD is like twice a week or 3 times a week, do it on the day that you are off of your NAD and take your MOTS-c then.
Mm, I love it. I saw someone write, will there ever be a day, an option so that you don't have to take so many different peptides and you can just combine them in a vial? Well, that's the future.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. So stay tuned, hopefully one day. But um, do you recommend starting at the dose or starting lower and slower to wean up to that?
Again, I think it's
Yeah.
it's a personal, but I think if after you go through your medical intake and they take all your medical information and you list any concerns that you might have, if the doctor is prescribing it to you at the dose that he gives, then I would stick to that. And
Mm,
because you can always adjust however you want. If you try the dose and you think it's a little bit too much for you, you can always pare down. It's not
mm.
going to hurt you, is what I'm trying to say.
This might be a little technical, but it said if you're T4, sorry, I lost that question. Oh, I
Talking
lost.
about your
Yeah,
thyroid
yeah. Oh,
T4.
if your TSH is reading low, but T4 good, hyperthyroidism, can you take this?
I can't speak to your particular case. As I said, I'm not a doctor, but I can share with you for myself. I have hypothyroidism, so and a very similar. Again, all of our numbers are different. That would be a fantastic question to ask your doctor, or you can set up a little one-on-one with one of our doctors and ask them there too. That might be a good question. You go to your doctor, he might tell you don't take peptide, by the way.
Mhm. Lauren, put in the chat, please, the micrograms of the 60 units. I think it's 1200, but
Yeah,
if you can,
she
because
did.
she's on mute. Okay, you did. Just put it in again because we're getting a lot of questions. But um, how do you
How do
set
you
up
set up an
with your,
appointment with a doctor?
just take the question, go and order your peptide, and it'll walk you through the entire journey. Very, very simple.
Yeah.
Or get with the person who referred you to Ellie, and they can guide you through your patient journey. 1200 micrograms 3 times per week.
Do you get 2 months worth? Yes,
Right.
you do.
That's
You get
right.
2 months worth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Rachel, any
so
last words? I mean, this was fantastic. Guys,
yeah,
give it up for Rachel. Round of applause. That was awesome. She came with slides and everything. This is phenomenal. And your energy is great. You must have taken your MOTS-c today.
I actually did take my MOTS-c
Oh,
today.
there you go. That was awesome. You rock, Rachel. And she's one of our own here at LEMD. That was awesome. And I'm so glad
Thank
we
you.
got to connect in Cancun and you were excited about this. And see, I
Yeah.
listened. I listened, but
Yeah.
awesome job, Rachel. Thank you. But any last words? Where can we find you? If anyone wants to follow
Yeah.
you, your
I'm
content, where
on
can they find you?
Instagram. Yep, I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, but Instagram at Rachel Harshfield Wellness. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And really, I think that we are in such a great trajectory with our peptide therapy. And I mean, when you think about it, it's not just about the GLPs, right? It's how can we sustain, how can we continue to offer to ourselves, to our families, and to our clients, those that we serve, alternative ways to feel better that is healthy and that is going to offer longevity and to support them in their healthy aging, which I think is so fantastic.
That's right. And I love that RFK recently came out with a 14 out of 19, and he
Yeah.
used the term, these were illegally placed on category two. So we should see that in the next couple of weeks. And I love that here at Ellie, we've gotten ahead of this and we've been able to offer these therapeutics for long enough. And we have doctors who are educated enough to be willing to prescribe. And we have compounding pharmacy partners that have these peptides available through a compounding source, as opposed to this gray market that's been created and you don't know what you're getting. Here at Ellie and the compounding pharmacy partners that we have, you can rest assured that these are tested. It's coming from a 503A pharmacy. So safety efficacy. It's very, very important. So read up about it. If you haven't already, check us out at elliemd.com. It's on the product page under MOTS-c. Thank you again, Rachel, for coming on
Thank
and
you.
educating
Thanks
our
for having me.
community. And thank you all of you for tuning in tonight and always to learn more, educate yourself. This is what makes our community so special and unique. It's a community approach that we're taking to health and wellness and our power of the numbers and what we bring together as a collective. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Love you. And once again, Rachel, awesome
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night. Take care. Mwah.
Night, guys.
Good night.